Okay, let's start. And good to see so many people in the chat from different places. Just as a technical point, if you do want to put a message in chat, if you select the panelists and attendees, then everybody can see it, not just the panelists. The default is panelists only. And also just another thing to say, please feel free to use the Q&A functionality. There's a Q&A button you can press and submit any questions as we go along. And Ruslan and myself and the other panelists will be happy to either answer them directly or answer them within the webinar. And finally, at the end, we will have time for questions and answers. So it's very much encouraged for you to participate. I'm actually going to, before I start this short presentation, then we're going to hand over to Ruslan from Jelastic. I'm going to bring up a poll for everybody. So basically, this is interesting for us because it talks about some of the technologies you might be using already, the kind of services or kind of PaaS services you might be interested to use yourself going forward, and also whether you're using containers or not at this stage. So that's all really interesting feedback for us. So I'm going to launch that, and you feel free to respond to it if you want to during my presentation, and then I'll show the results at the end before we go hand over to Ruslan for the product demo. So on that, thank you to Ruslan and his colleagues as well from Jelastic for joining. He's going to show us the web app directly and go into the details of configuring environments and how all of that works. So welcome. So one of the things that's really interesting for us is the lack of vendor lock-in that's happening with the new PaaS platform that we're bringing to market. So you're going to see that in more detail with Ruslan in a minute. But it's kind of an extension of what we've been building with the IaaS platform over the years. So the idea is that you can uniquely use the platform as a service, services and benefit from them, but at the same time not have the kind of vendor lock-in that you often experience with many other platforms. And the other thing is that it supports a lot of different technologies, and you'll have seen there in the poll that we're running. That's why we're asking about those different technologies, because it's kind of a trick question, because actually with the platform supports all of them. So that's great news. But we're also interested to see kind of the focus of the audience today, where most of the people are coming from. The other thing to say is that it fits directly into the services topology that we have at CloudSigma, as you'll see from the demo. So basically, the platform as a service element, which you can see here, is connected to the IaaS platform. And actually one of the things that Ruslan will cover is even the possibility to migrate workloads from the existing IaaS platform into the PaaS platform, because there are a number of ways that can be done relatively painlessly. And so that was my quick intro. I just wanted to give a bit of background, just to say that, we see customers using the platform as a service very much as a way of, saving time and saving labor and then focusing on higher value tasks. So when you talk about the cost of IT or the cost of running a system, really it's the infrastructure cost, yes, but it's actually all the management and maintenance costs. And as you'll see from this demo, you can create very sophisticated very advanced systems relatively easily. So you can both raise your game potentially, but also save a lot of time, both in terms of setting up environments and also maintaining them over time through upgrades, through all those kind of things that can often be a really big time sink for teams. So yeah, so I mean that's why we think it's a great complement to what we're doing, and we're already seeing a lot of interest. So hopefully you'll see some value out of the information you're about to get in the next kind of half an hour or so. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Ruslan, and he's going to go through the demo for you and the platform in more detail. Over to you, Ruslan.
Robert, thank you very much for the introduction, and hello everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. Today we will talk about DevOps automation, how Jelastic can help simplify your life. Is it even if you are just a developer without any experience in DevOps, or if you are a DevOps guy who love to do stuff by hands, but you can learn how Jelastic can make you even more powerful. And I like that Robert emphasized no vendor lock-in. It's our, let's say, one of our key features. We are not locked to specific infrastructure. We are not locked to a specific technology. We are agnostic. Honestly, I came from Java world, but we have a lot of PHP customers. We are good friends with father of PHP and father of Java. So we are not religious about specific technologies or methodologies and so on. And this is the reason why we would like to provide this freedom of choice, right? So you can choose different technologies, different approaches, different cloud vendors. Yeah, because, you know, the whole world is about the diversity. There are so many different people, different nations, languages, different mentalities, and so on. And it's strange if you know, like, if everyone uses only the same approach around the world. So as I see from the pool, there are more people that use PHP than Java. Actually, it's the same across all our customers. We have, but actually these two communities are the largest ones in Jelastic, let's say. We have a growing community of Node.js customers as well. But we, again, like we support Ruby, Golang, and Python and others. Great, so, and I have a request to you guys, like, so please help me to make this presentation a bit more interesting for everybody. As it's an online, I personally prefer like offline presentations when you can, you know, see people and have some interactions. So please ask questions during my session or after at the end. So please, let's make it more interactive. It will be more interesting, more fun for you and even for me. I want to get fun from this presentation as well. So great. Let me share my screen and let's move on. Yeah. I hope you see my screen. In general, look, Jelastic, it's all about automation. We automate stuff around different technologies like clustering, availability, scalability, continuous integration, continuous deployment. We're focusing on you know, like SaaS direction. So when people build custom solutions and deploy to Jelastic, or when people use popular solutions like WordPress, Kubernetes, or existing databases. So, and today we will talk specifically about automation in DevOps. Right, we will cover like simplified deployment, like automatic scaling, out of the box clustering, CI/CD automation. I will do quite extensive demo here, and we will touch some API and cloud scripting. Due to the huge functionality inside Jelastic, it's just impossible to cover with a demo for everything. So I will focus specifically on continuous integration, continuous delivery. And if you have questions, please ask. I can cover during this session maybe, or we can make another one or provide the follow-up answers. So, but in general, continuous integration and continuous delivery is very important aspect for DevOps, right? So when you create a new code and then you deploy it to production. So when you're a small company, you deploy it to maybe directly to production, right? When you start to grow and you have a customers, you deploy it to test environment. And when you get really big, you deploy to test and staging. Like, and to having some automation is essential, is necessary for high quality work, let's say. And Jelastic provides multiple ways to automate deployment inside Jelastic. So I will show my environment dashboard. So this is dashboard inside CloudSigma, platform service dashboard. So you press this, let's say, button, yeah, line menu. And I already created some environments just to show you demo, but in general, it looks like this. When you come inside, every application needs an environment, right? So you can choose like, okay, Java, PHP, Ruby, Node.js, Python, whatever, like Docker. As I mentioned, we are technology agnostic. We don't force you to use like cloud native tools only, or like legacy kind of approach only. Like, so you can mix and match. So you can choose whatever you like and stick with your preferable way. And maybe, like, you know, some people do lift and shift when they migrate to cloud from on-premise. So they do some small tweaks, and then later they migrate to cloud native solutions. which sounds reasonable for me because, you know, like you learn and you understand how to make it better. But at the end, look, it's very easy to create pretty complex environments. So for now, I'm making vertical scaling, right? Like, so I'm just drag and drop this slider and I'm adding or removing resources to my container. This specific container is a Tomcat 10X, which is will be based on adopt OpenJDK 11, let's say, right? So, and then I can make a horizontal scaling right here. So I just create, let's say, like 5 nodes of Tomcat, and I can choose which kind of strategy I prefer for scaling. Is it stateless or stateful? So the difference between stateless and stateful is the following. When we scale in stateless mode, a new node will be created from a template, right? From a template, it will be empty inside, so no data will be inside, just some files of your application server or database and so on, but no data of your application will be inside. When you scale in stateful mode, what we do, we clone the master container, and then we migrate this master container from this physical node to another physical node just to improve availability, right? So in this way, again, like why it's important to understand, like because in stateful mode, we copy all data. So whatever was inside master container, some custom configs, maybe like some extra files like of your application and so on, they will be cloned to another container, right? With stateless mode, it's like more for scaling stateless workloads. So no data will be present inside, and you need to put this data somehow, like mount from shared folder, like, or upload it later, like so. But stateless mode, scaling works faster than stateful because stateful is more complex. You need to copy probably even more data and then do migration between host nodes, across host nodes to make sure there is anti-affinity. But what I wanted to emphasize, like just these simple clicks provides you very significant advantage, and I mean big functionality behind it. So you can choose scaling mode, and then we, by the way, when we create like 5 nodes, all of them will be automatically distributed across physical host node or virtual host nodes. So it means if one host node fails, your application will keep working because like other instances will be alive, which is great, right? So as an administrator or as a developer, you don't need to worry about this. So the platform solves this for you, and it's even hidden from you. Great, and then also we have different layers. By the way, when I added more nodes, you can see here like there is a load balancer. We automatically add load balancer, and we configure load balancing, a distribution of requests across all these 5 nodes. So we configure it automatically, and you can make it scalable vertically and horizontally as well, right? Same actually for databases, but for databases we have like super cool features, which is called like auto clustering. When you click it, you will get like 3 nodes. For example, we are talking about MongoDB, right? So you will have topology based on replica set, and you can later add more nodes. You know, like to configure it, database cluster, you need to have knowledge how to make it happen, and very often it's not easy. And same for MariaDB, right? There is auto clustering, but for MariaDB we support multiple topologies: Galera, primary, secondary, primary, right? For example, if I choose Galera, by default we will provide 3 nodes. You can increase like to 7, for example, and add more resources. Same for let's say for MySQL and for Postgres as well. So for Postgres we provide primary, secondary at the moment. And there is also like storage, and you can have like one storage or multiple storage containers. So, and then mount the storage, right? So if I go here, for example, or like to database, and I go to volumes, right? So I can choose my storage container here. So I have like volumes, I have local volume, and I can add remote volume. So I choose like data container. Then I go here, I choose like storage container. So the platform pulls pre-configured volumes on the storage container, and there is already one like data, right? And I can make it read only or read write and add it. And that's it. So all data, so this folder will be mounted into your, let's say, from storage container to your databases. You can actually change this one. So to make it like this, for example, go here and the local path, change it like this. I cannot it because it's already used here. So if I remove this one, right, then it will be like this. So what it means, so the data of your database will be stored on shared storage. So again, it's useful for complex topologies. Maybe for simple ones, it's not really necessary, but for complex topologies, it can be really helpful because you can scale horizontally for a big number of nodes, and it will be faster and data will be safe at the end. Great. So then what else? Like there is a VPS, for example, you want to deploy something custom, which is not available here in Jelastic. Yeah, you can choose different versions. And there is a build node for Java mostly, let's say, right? And there is opportunity, functionality to add, let's say, custom Docker images. So you can print whatever you want, for example, Nginx, right? And yeah, you can choose this Nginx and yeah, and create an environment. So guys, as you can see, so powerful topology, like 5 application servers, like 4 load balancers, 7 Postgres nodes, 5 MongoDB, and many others. Like I did it in just a couple minutes with very small amount of efforts. So it means like it helps you as a developer or as a DevOps guy to save your time and focus on business logic. Great, but for example, you have this topology. What should be next? Of course, you want to deploy some application, right? And let's check it how it works for PHP. For example, I have 2 application servers based on Nginx and 1 load balancer based on Nginx as well. And I want to deploy some application, right? We have some demo package in Github. So I go here. And what I do, there is a like deployment menu. You can deploy from archive, you can deploy from URL, or you can deploy from Git and SVN. So we want to Git and SVN. And there is an additional menu. I can choose from pre-existing pre-configured, let's say, repositories here, or I can create a new one like this. So I name it demo PHP, let's say like CloudSigma, right? And I specify path to my repository. And if it's private repo, so I can specify token or SSH case, but currently this repo available as a public repository, so I can use it without credentials. I add it, now it's specified, repository specified here, and then I can specify master branch or like any other branch and path where to deploy. Like by default, we deploy to root. And another interesting and cool stuff, like you can specify hooks, pre-deployment and post-deployment. So these hooks will be executed before and after deployment. Maybe you need to trigger some configurations, update configurations after deployment or before deployment, right? So we can specify like, I don't know, like maybe like gem service restart. So what does it mean, gem? Gem, it's like Jelastic Environment Manager service restart. So we restart service after deployment. Great. And
just
yes.
as you're going through this, because we had a couple of questions that I think are relevant to this section.
Okay, please.
To cover as you go through. This is from Johannes. He said, so one of them is specifically about deployments, the other one's about configuration. So we can try and cover it here or later. So the first question is how to pass application-specific configuration and resource files. He's wondering how that might be possible. And then the second question that I think is relevant is how to automatically trigger deployment updates from existing build servers, for example, TeamCity. So these are kind of like deployment and kind of existing environment type queries. So I just wanted to flag those to you just to be able to cover them as you go through. You're kind of doing it as we speak, so yeah.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for asking this. So first question, how to put configuration files. So it depends how you store them. So if you store them inside Git somewhere, like, so you can deploy from Git. Like if you don't store them in Git, like you can upload them through API or through UI. Like it really depends on specific of your project. There is no requirements, I mean, no restrictions inside Jelastic. If you want to keep these configurations after you redeploy the whole container, then you need to specify volume, right? Like remember I showed like the volume. Let me roll back a little bit. So I go here, and for example, I know these containers, this layer, Nginx application server, has some configuration volumes, right? I just specify them here, and after redeployment of the whole container, because sometimes you need to update version of your server, right? And there is possibility to redeploy container to a next version. You can choose, for example, another version, right? And all these volumes will be kept inside the container, so they will stay after the redeployment. So hopefully I answer the question. And the next one regarding the automation, how to automatically trigger. We will go through this. So it's in my presentation a little bit. I will show it a little bit later. So for now, I show simple cases, and later we go to really complex where it's like GitLab integrated together with Kubernetes, like and so on. So please stay tuned, and you will get the answer during my session. Great. So let's move on. I wanted to deploy my demo PHP. As you see, it's already inside because the platform remembered my choice, and let's create again like hook service restart, just you know, to have some action after deployment. And then we can have sequential deployment or simultaneous. You know, like sometimes it's good to redeploy one by one, because then load balancer will see, okay, like this node is down, and load balancer will not send traffic to the node which is in redeployment process, and alive nodes will serve it. So for production environments, I recommend to deploy it, you know, one by one. Like for demo, like let's do it simultaneously, just for, you know, for speeding up. And then there is an option to check and auto deploy updates. For example, if your environment will have some updates inside, I mean your Git repo will get some updates, the system will check it, and if there is an update, it will automatically pull and do redeployment. Also, there is auto-resolve conflict. It's for more, let's say, like complex configurations of repositories. And there is also zero downtime deployment for PHP applications. So this one, you can go and check how it works. Actually, it was invented by father of PHP. He invented very nice technology with Symlink. And we implemented this inside Jelastic as well. So you can read how it works, but it's really nice, again, like for production applications to enable this zero downtime deployment functionality. And in this way, by the way, you can deploy it simultaneously to all nodes. Great, so let's do deployment now. You just press a button, deploy, and it will take, let's say, like several seconds to pull and to pull from a repository and push it to our servers. Yeah, and you can track the progress here, right? It's deploying, updating context. Yeah, but it should not take a long time. And yeah, it's done. And now we can just open this link. So you can see, like, you did it, your application is now running in the cloud. Let's do some update of our repository and check how it works with our automatic updates. So yeah, this one file. It's index.php, I believe. Yeah. So what we do, we go here and let's find red. Yeah, we will change it to blue. And also we change it here, like we did it together. So, and I commit my change. As my configs were configured like 1 minute, so the system checks like every 1 minute. It's not like every second, like, so there is some delay. Yeah, but while the system is checking, we can see some logs. Yeah. For example, hooks, remember? You see, like, so hooks is working as well, like post deploy hook applied successfully. So I just wanted to show you that it works, and I believe our update should be now should be deployed. I don't know, maybe 1 minute is not passed yet, but it will come soon. So great. Actually, it was 2 deployments already. Sorry. Maybe it's wrong. No, something is. Now it's here. Maybe it was cache. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it was cache of my browser. So as you see, like, it's some kind of automated process. Now you can commit your updates to the repo, and the system will automatically pull them and deploy to application with 0 downtime. So this is like simple case, right? Simple case. We have another example for Java. I have another topology like 2 tomcats, 1 load balancer. I have a build node as well, because I need a build node Maven for Java projects. I need to build from source code some war file, and I have pre-deployed project, but let's make it, let's say, properly from the beginning. So I remove this project, and then I choose another project which is designed for Java, because there is like specific structure, like POM files for building application, web application, right? So what I do, actually, I copy a link to this repo, right? And then I go back to my dashboard, and I can print here directly in the search, or I can go to marketplace. It just doesn't matter. Like, so I print like Git, and I'm looking for Git push deploy add-on, right? And we have like simple add-on where you specify your Git repo URL. You can specify branch, and then you specify user, and you need to specify token. We will create token now together with you. You go here to the settings, right? And to developer settings and personal access token, right? And we want to generate new token. So it asks my password and demo Java, let's say CloudSigma. And I specify, okay, this token for my repo. And I generate this token. I copy this token, come back to the panel, put it here, and then I choose target environment. I want to deploy to Java, and I specify application server, right, to specific layer where I want to deploy. And I press it, and I need to wait a little bit, because with Java it will take a little bit longer due to let's say longer process of building from Maven and so on. But at the end, it will work in the following way. As soon as you deploy to this repo, I showed here. Yeah, as soon as you deploy changes to this repo, they will automatically move to your environment. So they will be pushed automatically there. So if 1 minute is too much for you to wait, then use this git push deploy. If 1 minute is okay, then just use built-in functionality. So because why like 1 minute? In this way, like we don't create webhooks, so you don't need to pass this token from your account, right? Like, so we just pull, okay, like is there anything new or not? And with token, we just create a webhook. As soon as a new update comes to your repository, we trigger the platform APIs and we do redeployment. So I hope I explain it in short how it works. Great. Then let's go to another one. Like, so for more complex environments and topologies, we have Gitlab, for example, in Marketplace. You go here, you put like Git lab, yeah, here, and so pretty easy. You can say like, okay, please install GitLab together with Let's Encrypt, and that's it. Like at the end, we will install something like this: one GitLab server and one runner. You can scale this easily by going here, because sometimes you need more runners, right? Like, so you just create like, okay, please create more runners, because you might deploy like multiple projects, build and deploy. So, and the system, again, like when it creates new runner, it will automatically connect it to GitLab server. But I have this GitLab server here, right? Just to show you that it's the same, I go here and yeah. So this is my GitLab server. And I already imported some project for Kubernetes. It's a demo project, our demo project for Kubernetes. Yeah, so for deploying this project, I need a Kubernetes actually. And I have created Kubernetes before as well. I go here, Kubernetes. Yeah, I have like one worker, one master and storage. It's just dev environment. Fair enough. I mean, it's enough for testing, let's say. For production, of course, I will create like 3 masters and more workers. But for development, it's enough. And Kubernetes, it's easy to create. You go here like dev and admin tools like Kubernetes cluster, or you print here like Kubernetes cluster, or you print here like Kubernetes, right? And you will get this kind of wizard where you can specify the version of Kubernetes you want to deploy, different 2 options for Kubernetes dashboard, different topologies, production and development environment, right? So for development, 1 control and 1 worker. For production, by default, 3 control plane and 2 API load balancers and actually 2 workers. But you can scale more workers later. You can create a clean cluster or pre-deploy something already. You can attach NFS storage or and actually add Prometheus and Grafana Jaeger tracing tool and enable remote API access. So as you see, like it's very small amount of efforts to create complex topologies for Kubernetes, right? So, and I already created GitLab server with scalable runners, and I can create Kubernetes and connect it to GitLab. So how to connect Kubernetes to GitLab? For example, you created this Kubernetes. You go to master layer or control plane layer and press this add-on button. And then there are different kind of add-ons. So, and there is a GitLab integration add-on. You press button configure and you choose this GitLab server DevOps. I will not press it because it's already integrated. So I did it integration side, but the flow, I just wanted to show you the flow. Like the flow is pretty simple. So, and after you press this integration, you go here and you will see, yeah, let me go here, sorry. It should be somewhere in admin, somewhere, admin, yeah. So admin, and there is a Kubernetes, and yeah, it's pulling some data from Kubernetes, like number of nodes, total cores, total memory, let's say, right? Total nodes 2, total memory, And you can check some parameters, but you don't need to do anything here, just showing you that it's okay, it's already integrated. Right. And what I wanted to show you also some number of workers, admin area, runners, yeah, runners. Remember, I scaled runner recently, so we have 2 of them. It's automatically connected. Check it here. So we have 2 runners. I don't need to do anything anymore. So I just automatically connected to the GitLab. So, and what I do as the next, again, guys, it's more complex now flow, right? For more advanced projects. So I create my project. So this project was pulled from GitHub, let's say, right? But you can create your own project, and you create some GitLab Ci pipelines. There is a specific format how to create this pipelines for GitLab. They describe what you need to do after you introduce some changes. But at the end, what you will get something like this, pipeline. By the way, actually, there is an editor for this pipeline, so you can visualize better this, right? For example, and you will get some pipelines like we have here and recently passed. So it will pull some data, build containers, package them, do some testing, deploy, and so on. And yeah, just to show you how it works, we go here to. By the way, let me open this Kubernetes and show you what we have now. So we have deployed our Kubernetes to hello world. And there is I did it, right? Your application now is running in the cloud. So then I go to my repo, to the service, and I find this file. It's just an example of my project. In your case, it can be different. I found this, I did it, we changed it, we did it together, right? And that's it. So what I do then, commit changes, and then I go to my pipelines, CI/CD pipelines, and as you can see, it's automatically triggered new pipeline. So now we need to wait while this pipeline will go through all these points, but you can really configure your pipeline in the way you prefer, with more tests, with less tests, with deployment to test environment, maybe then manual action is required, but I just wanted to show you that it's pretty easy to integrate complex GitLab and complex Kubernetes together within CloudSigma platform. So we will need to wait a little bit for while it's finished deployment. This is in short about additional ways, possible ways to deploy and automate different pipelines. Another one, I like actually Jenkins, and Jenkins is very popular solution. So you can again print it like this. Oops, yeah. And there is a wizard. You can specify how many workers you want. Press button, and will install this Jenkins to your topology. So I have already pre-installed Jenkins here. I have 3 workers to 1 master. So let's open this one. What's going on? Oops, sorry. Guys, do you hear me? Do I have internet?
Yes, we hear
Yes.
you. Maybe
Okay,
just
okay.
try to switch off your video to have better connection.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the same, but this one is available, and that one is not. What's going on? What's the difference? One more. it's very strange. Like, look, because this one is available. Okay, never mind. Yeah, look, see, like same, same. Maybe something wrong with my internet. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, this one is this tab is available. So Jenkins is available here. And what I did, like I just created a Java project, and so what I do, I press a configure. Right, and I specify like just descriptions and specify repo to my source code, and then I specify okay Jelastic API endpoint, and then I say like okay this is the address of our platform. So you need to specify domain of the platform. Then I specify okay what is the target environment. I put here like target. I will deploy specifically to, let's say, to the target environment. Yeah, this one. Right. So I just copy this initial like target, and then context. It will be root. I specify token. What also I need to do? It's very important. I go to the settings here. And I generated token specifically for Jelastic because you allow now by, let's say, like third-party tool to do things with your environments through API. So it's pretty easy. You go here, like generate, like test token, for example. And yeah, and then you can specify it expired, for example, in a day, and then you say like, okay, Maven plugin, and generate, and you copy it. Done. So, but yeah, and then you specify, you put this token here. So I have already predefined token. It's just early created. And then what I do again, like specify this Git repo, then branch. And like bunch of other parameters, like so you can fine tune it, and yeah, that's it. And now we can build with parameters. You can change maybe some parameters if you wish, like and press button build, and we started a new job. So this will take a while, like maybe a minute or two, because as I mentioned, Java requires a bit more time for deployment compared to PHP projects. Yeah, but at the end we will get our application deployed directly. Yeah, I think. Yeah, to Jenkins. So it says like it was deployed to Jenkins.
Ruslan, I think
yes.
two things. I'm just conscious of the time as well. Two things that I think will be useful for the attendees to see,
Yes.
in addition to all of this, of course, is just the way the billing works, because that's quite unique, and how favorable it is to users in terms of how granular it is and the metric that it's using, especially compared to other platforms. I think that's really important. And then also from a migration perspective, the ability to move a configuration from maybe an existing deployment that they have, or even to containerize a virtual machine that they might have in the IaaS platform. I know that's a lot to fit in to the time we have left, but hopefully you can just give the key points on both of those.
Right. So let me guys and finish this on continuous integration, continuous delivery. I just love this topic, like and there are so many things that can go wrong, honestly, like so. But so some kind of automation really helps people. Even you see like our first build failed, like it automatically started the second build, right? Second went smoothly, and then like it's moved to like next phase, right? Like past some test, package it, deployment, and now we're at the final stage of our deployment to Kubernetes. And I believe like in a minute we will get updated deployment inside Kubernetes, and we will go then to Yeah, and we will go then to billing system and so on. So great. It should be done soon. Okay, let's then switch, and I will come back later. So billing is very unique and very advanced here because, for example, take a look at this GitLab. How many resources it has? It's amazing, just because like we said like 16 GB of RAM, but in reality this server use only 4 GB of RAM. And with CPU, it's even, you know, like you have 41 gigahertz, and it's using only 195 megahertz. Why I'm asking like limit and using? Because Jelastic is based on pay per use. It's not pay per the limit. It's not pay as you go, as other cloud vendors offer. For example, let me show you on a specific image, which will explain clearly the difference. When you go to Amazon or any other cloud vendor, you buy virtual machine, you pay always for the limit, regardless of the real consumption inside. So all these resources will be wasted. Like, I mean, you just overpay for them. And now imagine you scale it horizontally, right? So you just scale this inefficiency. With Jelastic, this problem does not exist because like even you set high limits, we don't charge you for the limits. We give you ability to use this whenever you want, whenever you need, but we track exact consumption by your application, and we charge based on the real consumption. So this is very unique and very advanced technology because imagine you have like hundreds of containers. You don't need to track like how much resources is wasted per each container. I mean, like, because like if you configure it improperly at the beginning, right? Like you set too high limit, you will always pay for the limit at another cloud, and you need to go and adjust these limits per each container, like. And during the time, load changes, so most likely you will need to go and adjust your like scaling limits. With Jelastic, this problem doesn't exist because what people do usually they set high limits at the beginning, and they are fine because like they will not be charged per this like limit. They will charge per actual consumption. Yeah. So coming back to, sorry, I want just to finish this Kubernetes. So you see like our pipeline is finished, and we check now. Yeah, we did it together. So it's fully automated, like GitLab together with Kubernetes. Coming back to pricing. Let's see another container. You know, like for example, these runners. You know, like it's 32 gigabyte limits per two of them, and it consumes only like 172 megabytes. You can see how big is the scaling, but you are not charged per 32 gigabyte. It means, guys, like you can put much more workloads on the same infrastructure, so you can save money and reinvest this money into your team, like into your product, like I don't know, like you know whatever you want. Like so, it's very cost efficient and it solves right sizing problem. You don't need to guess in advance how much limits you need to put, because like you just put high limits at the beginning and you don't worry anymore. So you may say like, okay, what happens if like a lot of, I don't know, DDoS happens, like, right, like, and traffic comes, you will get notifications from the system. We have like load alerts, right, and they configure it by default. So if usage will come close to a specific trigger, to a specific limit, you will get this notification. So you will be able to go and take some actions. You know, like it's very little consumption per hour. Like even if it consumes like whole, I mean, like everything till the limit, like it's very small amount, like per 1 hour. Like so, you will be able to act if you don't like this high spike. But usually, people are happy when spikes come, because usually spikes happen when customers come, like, you know, and you want to be protected for these customers. From other side, you don't want to overpay in advance for these unused resources. So
Could you
Jelastic
show
is
the trigger configuration as well, because that relates to that, right? To show that the customer, these guys are in control of that scaling. They get to choose what they want to scale based on, right?
correct. So there are two options to scale. For example, let's scale manually, right? Like this is how I scale manually. I show it already, right? So I just drag and drop, and this is my scaling limit. And you can see like there is a dash line. So it means like you don't pay if you don't use. Like if you scale this trigger, it means like you will pay for this blue line. So it's like reserved. So you know like your consumption in advance, like, and you reserve, and you get a little bit more discount for reserved cloudless actually. So you can check billing models and details at our website. But so this is a manual scaling again, right? And how to scale automatically. By the way, it's manual scaling for vertical manual scaling. There is also manual horizontal scaling. So you can add more nodes, right? Add more nodes here manually. And there is automatic horizontal scaling as well, based on triggers. So what you do, for example, you want to scale by memory, and you specify, okay, please add one more node if let's say load is higher than like 60%, right? And please scale out to like 10 nodes. And please remove node if load is lower than, let's say, like 30%, right? Like it just an example, right? And please scale into one node, and you add it, done. If you want to create another trigger, no problem. Like, so you can create CPU network, disk IO, or whatever, or you can put triggers, scaling triggers for another layers, like, you know, for runners. For example, your runners out of capacity, you create automatically new runner, and it will be connected to Gitlab Server. Like, or there are multiple scenarios, but I believe the idea is clear, right? Like, so you can scale horizontally and vertically, manually and automatically. So Robert, I hope it explained the idea. If not, please give me a hint what else is good to cover.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I just wanted to, because I think that to see that visually, it's really useful for people to understand that there's all kinds of scaling models, and it just depends on the particular customer, what they, you know, how they want to scale.
Correct.
It's transparent, and they can control it, is the point.
Exactly. Great. So there are so many other buttons, guys. Like really, like I will not be able to cover everything right now. So there's an ability to go directly to SSH mode. Like, so if you like this like style, I personally like it. You know, like, so to work directly with command line. So you can go and check what is inside. Like maybe fine tune it. If you don't like it, you still like visuals kind of configurations. There is a file manager. There is some favorites files, like for example, for a deployment, what kind of files to keep when you redeploy the whole containers. Some case here, right? Some cron jobs, and so on. Like, but there is a whole root folder as well, like available, so you can go here, like, and you know, and travel across your file system. There is also like logs files you can check and so on. Like, so we specify logs files for specific runtime. Like, so we try to get the most useful ones, but if something is missing, you can go to SSH and double check it. Now talking about migration. So migration is pretty simple because, as I mentioned, we do not force you to use specific technology. If you have a lot of legacy applications that are running inside virtual machines, no problem, guys. So you can deploy them inside our VPS, and that's it. So you can use your Chef Puppet scripts, logic, automation, whatever, because everything will work in the same way as it works in virtual machines. The only difference you will get is you will pay less money at the end, because we still apply this pay-per-use model for VPS as well. So it means like, because with virtual machines, it's just impossible. Like, it's really hard to do. We use system containers. System containers, they're similar to virtual machines, but they're more elastic and we have more opportunities, to give you more benefits with system containers. This is about legacy stuff, right? Like if you use like traditional applications and you deploy like in traditional way, I would recommend to use predefined containers, predefined software stacks. For PHP, we have nice like templates like LAMP, Lightspeed. Lightspeed is really good for WordPress, for example. Nginx, right? Apache, so whatever. And for Ruby, we have some Nginx as well, or Apache, yeah, and some versions, different versions. So yeah, if you deploy like, let's say in traditional way, if you go like cloud native way, which is actually, people, there is some confusion, like cloud native, they believe it's only Kubernetes. No, guys, like cloud native, it means like it's elastic, it's scalable, like, it's highly available. So it's designed for a cloud for the beginning. But let's say like you want to go Docker or Kubernetes way, which is great technologies as well. As I showed already, there is Kubernetes inside Jelastic, and Kubernetes will be charged in the same way as others with pay per actual use. Check it here. For example, right, we go to worker and like limit 4 GB, consumption like 800 megabyte. Like, so, right, you can increase your limit and you will not pay for the limit. It's different comparing to others. Like whenever you go to any cloud, you buy like workers, like you buy predefined virtual machines, like 16 GB, 8 GB, you always pay for maximum limit. So, and also, for example, coming back to this cloud native direction, if you want to deploy Docker, there is a possibility to deploy Docker inside Docker engine, right? Like, so we just create the Docker engine inside the system container, inside the VPS container, and you deploy in a traditional way of native way of Docker with all Docker native tools. Or you can deploy directly to our system container without Docker engine. So it removes some additional layer. It will be more efficient at the end, right? But you may lose some, let's say, compatibility. So this one does not work for everything, but for things that it works, it provides more benefits because like it's more efficient at the end. So this is in short, guys, about options. So there is also migration, like, let me see, like, well, Robert, what should we cover also? Like, maybe you give me a hint, like, are there any questions, guys, so far? Because I can talk forever.
I mean, we had, Johannes also had a third question, which was, and I see there's another question, which I'll also review. He's just saying thank you. Yeah, I mean, the other thing Johannes was asking about was networking, and he was asking about private networking. And, we've already discussed this. So yeah. if you have a requirement as an existing customer to connect to private network within the IaaS platform to Jelastic, we're able to do that. It's not exposing the web app automatically at the moment, but we can basically expose applications into the same VLAN that you may be using for virtual machines and other workloads on the IaaS level. So that is possible. So that's just something to take up with your account manager or ping our support. And that's also something to say, both CloudSigma and Jelastic have a kind of high support model. So you can actually see there on Ruslan's screen, the support chat on the bottom left. You can always go and ask them a question if you get stuck. There's obviously a lot of complexity here and a lot of, it's very feature rich. And basically we have a 24/7 support desk, and they are also in contact with the Jelastic support. So they liaise together with the operations as well. There you go, and you see the response time. The average response time is less than 15 seconds actually. So it's very responsive, and just feel free to use them because they're there as a resource for you as well. So you should never really get stuck. Johannes has also got another question. This is great. We need more Johanneses in our webinars. Okay, so he asks, for the Docker engine deployment, can I specify a private protected repo for the Docker compose.yml, the YAML file?
Yeah. So yes, you can specify private repos. You can specify private repos. Let me show you, for example, here, custom, right? You add, and like private registry, username and passport, like so, and you add your custom Docker here, like, and then you can deploy it from visual, let's say, like dashboard, or like from API. So it supports custom private registries and custom private repositories.
Yeah, and just to say, we did a very focused session on containers and the environments. We had another webinar on that as well. And so we can, when we do a follow-up for everyone who attended this webinar, we'll provide the links to the recordings of the previous webinars as well. So there's a lot of useful information in that webinar, specifically on all of the options around containers and the kind of the managed environments that you can use for these container frameworks like Docker Engine and Kubernetes and things like that in the platform. So actually, I think we're pretty much there in terms of time anyway. So is there anything else burning that you want to cover, Ruslan?
Yeah, I want to cover everything, but I just cannot. That's the point. Yeah, I think, guys, like for the beginning, it should be enough. So today I was trying to focus in only like, like continuous integration, continuous delivery. I show it like simple way, a little bit more advanced, and like Docker with GitLab. We have Jenkins. TeamCity is possible to do as well. Like there is no problems. So if you face any difficulties, because again, as I mentioned, so many things can go wrong with continuous integration, continuous delivery. If you have any problems, feel free to ask. We are very friendly. We love make customers happy. Like we become happy as well. Like so, we will be happy, we will be able to help you.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So I just put up an exit poll there for people. If they want to, if you want to respond, just basically to see your level of interest in terms of the platform that we did today, and also just again as part of the supported approach. If you do have an interest to use the platform, you're obviously more than welcome to just click the button and sign up, and you get automatically some free resources and a 7-day trial. But if you have something more specific that you want to try, you want to do more like a proof of concept, we're more than happy to support that with additional resources and help on the technical side. So do feel free to get in touch with us to do something more specific to your requirements, and that's absolutely achievable. And then the final thing I wanted to say was that next week we have the final webinar in our series on the PaaS, and that relates to the marketplace, which we didn't cover today, but basically there's a whole host of really easy to deploy applications that are sort of one-click solutions. That's what we've kind of called it anyway, where you can deploy lots of things. And Ruslan's also very good at showing these as well. But yeah, so we'll have that next week at the same time on Thursday. And actually, Patrick put a link in the chat, and I'm obviously showing you the link up on the screen at the moment. But when we do the follow-up email, we'll include the link for you for next week. But it's definitely worth having a look at because there's really some great time savers there in the marketplace. And that kind of, again, fully integrates and works with the other environments and what you're doing. So it's just another great feature of the platform. So yeah, we look forward to, thank you for your time today, everyone that attended. Thanks to Ruslan for sharing his knowledge and all the colleagues from both companies that are also on the line. And thank you for attending. Hopefully it gave you some insights into what's possible. And yeah, we welcome you to the platform and look forward to following up and having more detailed conversations. So thanks everybody and enjoy the rest of the week. Thanks everyone.
Thank you guys. Stay healthy and hopefully to see you in person at some places soon.